Almost every video we do, we approach with some sort of expectations. Whether those are based on flight numbers, marketing information, or first or second-hand experience, to some extent we know where we think we're going with the video. But these two discs have no name, no flight numbers, nothing. So these are our first impressions. Hey everyone, it's Greg from Six Sided Discs, and one thing we do know about these discs is who makes them, and that is Discraft. Here we have the 2024 Ace Race prototype. Putter? Approach? If I had to categorize it, I guess that's where I'd put it. And this other disc is the latest DGA prototype driver, of course also manufactured by Discraft for Katrina Allen's line of discs. This video is not sponsored, but I do want to take a brief moment and say a big thank you to Spinners on the Green in Scottsdale, Arizona. My family and I were recently on a trip in the area where I shot an Innova-only round and Q&A at Vista del Camino that you hopefully saw last week. If not, make sure you go check that out. I stopped by Spinners on the Green after my round and they helped me find some new releases that we haven't been able to get our hands on. That way I could test them out and hopefully throw them at Fountain Hills the next day. They were super helpful. They shipped my discs back home that I brought with me so I would have room for the ones I bought on the plane. And while Fountain Hills probably wasn't the best place to test them, because I lost 2 of the 6 that I bought in the fountain, luckily, neither of the ones lost were these. So let's begin by taking a look at this Katrina Allen prototype driver from DGA. After doing a little research, DGA is dropping some hints. They're saying this driver has a lot of glide and some dependable fade, and the general consensus I think is that we're working with a 12-speed rim. But there's also some clues that it may have a little more nuance to it than this high glide and dependable fade. Team DGA's Jake Mon had a few things to say about it, suggesting that lower arm speeds may find it to be their furthest flying disc. Based on our experience with it so far, I'm not so sure about that. But he goes on to say that for big arms, it could be a great roller disc. And that's a little bit surprising for a disc that's described as having dependable fade, but I guess we'll find out. So let's see how it flies for us. For me personally, the lower arm speed of this testing duo, I found it to be reliably overstable. At Fountain Hills, I was able to get a little turn from it after releasing it flat, but it very quickly fought out and had significant fade. Back home in Ohio, it flew somewhat similarly. This first shot, I pulled a little to the right, but the DGA prototype fights out with ease. On another shot, releasing on a slight hyzer, I got no turn whatsoever. For Caleb though, it was a slightly mixed bag and a little more inconsistent. On one shot from hyzer, and even in a steady tailwind, it showed a huge turn and big distance, well over 400 feet. However, on several other shots, it did not turn at all, instead holding a smooth hyzer and not showing a particularly aggressive fade. Based on our experience with this disc, I'd say the flight numbers could be around 12 speed, 5 glide, -1 turn, and 2 fade. But after throwing the Undertow and Rogue 2 weeks ago with the MVP Trail, we know that DGA has a habit of creating flight numbers that are probably more compatible for pro-level players. So it's entirely possible that they're going to give it flight numbers of -2.1 or -3.1. This being a Katrina Allen driver, I think it makes sense that the flight numbers might be more suitable to lower arm speed players in terms of marketing. But we'll have to wait and see. Have you thrown the Katrina Allen prototype? What do you think of it? Leave a comment down below. Before we get to the new Ace Race prototype from Discraft, I'm excited to tell you all that the new sixsidediscs.com is almost here. We've been hard at work these past few weeks, putting the finishing touches on our brand new website. With tons of features you've been requesting, like better filtering options for specific disc types and stabilities, more accurate and reliable shipping options, and finally, international shipping. We also have tons of exciting discs coming in, including recent releases, custom stamps, new accessories, apparel, and much more. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Discord, or of course right here on our channel for all the latest updates on when our new website will go live. Now let's get back to these unnamed prototypes and see what we can learn about the 2024 Discraft Ace Race prototype. And let me start by saying that this disc is a bit weird. I'm not a huge fan of the shape of it at all. It doesn't fit well in my hand. It both feels huge, but has a very small area to actually grip the disc. And the slick ESP plastic means that I struggled to get a consistent release, as you can see here from my first throw with it. However, I think it's also fair to say that a lot of these slow, like one-speed style discs tend to have a bit of a learning curve to get used to the feel and flight and release. Eventually, I got the hang of it and I was able to get some decent flights with the prototype, hitting this tight gap with ease. Thrown flat, the Ace Race prototype likes to fly nice and straight, with very little glide and almost no fade. It actually flew a lot like a disc we're very familiar with, the Castoplast Berge, or Berg, or I don't know how to pronounce Swedish. But as you can see here, the Berg also fades down and forward rather than left or right. On Anheuser, it held the angle smoothly. And similarly for Caleb on Heiser, it stayed on Heiser. One disc this reminds me a lot of is the Luftdisc's Hydrogen. When we tested it several months ago, it held every angle we put it on. And the more we throw this new prototype, the more that it seems to do the same. A friend of mine, David, on just his second throw with it, parked this hole with its smooth drifting turnover that started and finished on the same Anheuser angle. So if we had to give some flight numbers and set some expectations for this new prototype, I think it's looking like a 1-2-0-0 type of flight, very neutral, likely holding whatever line you put it on. Who knows how long we'll have to wait for more information on these prototypes, but I for one am excited to see what their actual intentions were. What about you? Have you thrown the new prototypes from Discraft or DGA? Leave a comment down below. And also comment below what new discs or prototypes we should explore in the future. For Six Sided Discs, I'm Greg. We'll see you in the next one. Team DGA. Very calm right now. So that was actually low wind, Greg, in the editing suite. Don't miss that.
Yeah. Low wind.
Low wind.
Good flight. Low wind. Yeah, remember that. All right.
It actually flew a lot like a. Coming back. Big distance. Whoa. In the goal. In the goal. Get in. Oh, I think you missed it. And who knows how long we'll have to wait for more information on these prototypes, but I for one am excited. I for one want to finish this sentence. If you like this content and want to see more, please consider liking the video, subscribing to our channel, or supporting us on Patreon. Your support makes this content possible.